That also leaves the question: are melee weapons an option?
Yes. Was there anything you were particularly after?
No, I'm just awful at shooting.
Oh yeah, you could get some melee weapons. Like, I have asked repeatedly if there was anything you wanted, and no one's kind of responded.
Okay, are we down on that planet right now?
Yes. Oh crap! I
Last I remembered, we landed. We saw, we were overlooking the horizon, and we saw something on the horizon that crashed, or like smoke coming from somewhere.
The Skitarii that were with us spotted a ship.
Yeah.
Right.
I will do. 1 sec. I'm trying to sort the stream out for a second. Once I've sorted it out, I can do the intro and then go to a proper, like, recap.
Yeah.
You're just rushing ahead of me for a few minutes. Also, I'm a massive idiot and put the wrong image.
Yeah.
Does balance give you a +5 to parry or
+10?
+10 to parry.
And
Yep.
custom grip gives you a bonus on all weapon skill tests that would include parry.
Yes.
Yes, but that's only if you have it.
Right, I do. Yeah, I have a best quality sword with a custom grip.
So yeah, that is a +15 to all tests. You and also you did never. Oh, I never got to the point that you asked if someone wants anything specific. You were multiple times saying you have to work out what you want to give the Skitarii and the ground troopers.
Oh, I might have forgotten to ask them. Like, it's been like 3 weeks. Like,
Yes.
Wait, are we playing Skitarii right now?
okay, okay. If people wanted to play Skitarii, they were gonna say they were gonna play Skitarii, and I don't think anyone actually did in the end.
Okay.
I am.
I always said I was going to play Angelus because it fit more thematically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I'm
I
not
think,
using Zetar.
Yeah, I think Zetar was the only. Zetar's like the only character that couldn't go down there anyway because he wouldn't be able to fit in the arm. But like other characters were fine with Skitarii.
Yeah, I didn't want to be.
Not Skitarii. Right, so I think that is everything. If you wish for a piece of gear, please just message now
Yeah.
before we get in. Don't say it, just message, because then I can actually run my intro. So hello and welcome to Dark Heresy 2nd Edition, Burning System Suicide Cell, Season 2, Session 7, Subparagraph 3. Clause 9. Sorry. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Deadlight. I am joined by Balto.
Who's playing Angelus, the alchemist?
Balto's character is going to quickly die if he keeps making stupid requests. I am joined by Grey.
Hello. Playing Sengus, a mutant bodyguard.
I am joined by... I'm going to say your name.
Rock?
Rock.
Yes. Hi, I'm playing Heresy, the Dread. 1-8.
The laggy boy.
I am joined by Serene.
Who is today going to be playing as a Skitarii because Zetar is a filthy Xeno who would not be able to make it due to armor problems.
I don't have a token for your Skitarii.
I can have Gray quickly make one if you want.
Please, because I can be asked.
My Skitarii is also known as Mordecai, or M-3D-A1C.
Mordecai,
I can
because I'm
spell.
not saying that stupid long number.
Yeah.
It is literally just medic with numbers in it.
Fair enough. Hello Rachel. I've just done the intro, so you haven't actually missed anything. I've just said hello to everyone. So. So yeah, last time, you took a shuttle. You managed to establish that there was some sort of defense system on the planet. You took a shuttle down, landed. You planted the weather navigation recorder thing. Yes, you can get something better than your last pistol, and if you want a sample kit, you can have a sample kit. That seems fine. Great.
Yeah.
So, as I said, you arrive. You landed, and you landed in the ruins of a large warehouse, I believe. And going up the old fire escape, one of the Skitari highlighted that there was something odd in the distance. It was in fact a blue shuttle in what is now believed to be what you now know as the kill zone. This is odd because all the Adeptus Mechanicus shuttles in the area are in fact red. Or all the Adeptus Mechanicus shuttles are red, straight up. So, the fact that there is a different colour shuttle here is very concerning. Serene, I'm going to have you play as the Alpha of the Skitari,
This is fine.
which is basically like the Sergeant. It's just it makes more sense if you're playing like a slightly more talky one. So yeah, you start with that. It's about 2 miles trek. No, that makes no sense. It's about half a mile's trek away from where you currently are. Now, you have two options. You can try to do underground tunnels and lower level parts of the city. It's generally safer. You're not going to be likely to be hit by radiation storms or anything like that. However, a lot of nasty things tend to lurk in the underground, in the sort of lower levels. The upper levels generally is quicker to travel. It's just you are more exposed.
And our target is that other shuttle or other ship.
Your target is in fact about 3 miles out from where you currently are. Or a few miles out. I'm not going to say 3 because I don't want to say a number. But it's a few miles out. Your target is actually the defense grid. Or the defense turret.
But we also do want to investigate that shuttle, correct?
Yes, you do want to investigate the shuttle. This weird diagram that I have drawn here from last time.
You.
Me?
No, I have drawn that.
Oh, did you draw it? Oh, sorry, I thought I drew it.
Ah, filthy thief. Stop, criminal scum.
No, it's perfectly fine.
Okay, you are the red.
Hmm?
Blue, yeah, so this is you, over here.
Hmm?
This is the shuttle in question, and this is your objective.
Hmm?
Because this thing stopped all the shuttles that came. This is believed to now be the reason why all the shuttles were shot down. So, would you like to travel above the surface, or would you like to travel underground?
Let me finish setting up this weapon.
If we go underground, we won't be seen by blue shuttle, correct? If we go above ground, it might be difficult to get by in.
Not really. Technically, yes. You're less likely to be seen approaching from underground. There is a guarantee that you could. There's no guarantee you can actually come up near the shuttle underground. Likewise, the only reason why you can currently see the shuttle is because you're on top of a building. You're actually amazed at how many buildings are still standing. None have windows. Some seem to have power, which is a bit odd. No, or at least they showed signs of light. The light is often an unhealthy shade. As you look up, the sky is actually just storm clouds. There's lightning crackling across it, which is how you actually see, because there is no sunlight at all. The clouds above are just a deep purple, illuminated by blue and blood red lightning bolts that crackle across it.
I would vote we go underground. Whatever lives there, we can easier handle than warp lightning and storm and chaos storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mordecai will also say it's probably best if we go underground, because we can fight whatever comes our way down there. We can't fight storms if something bad goes down.
Your pilots, whose name I don't think I ever actually told you. I remember it was the two really skilled young ones. They inform you that the station, not station, Tranquility Station has detected a major warp storm approaching. Now, where you currently are is relatively fine. You're not going to be hit by it, but if you attempt to take off, you are going to have to pass through the kill zone of the defense system.
Well, so we can't take off before we disable the defense.
You cannot take off before the defenses are disabled. The storm is believed to commence between the upper and lower cloud layers, just basically destroying the middle cloud layer. There's in fact cloud layers on this planet because... Screw you.
Yeah.
Reasons.
Chaos.
Yeah, I was about to say because warp storm.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my right folder. So you all want to go underground?
Yes.
Okay. Can one person give me navigate surface, please? If multiple people try to do it, it will be the first person who rolls.
I can do it. 46% chance for me.
Yeah.
Oh, no, wait, never mind. Navigate. Never mind.
Navigate surface.
Looked at the wrong one.
Also, for the psychers in the party, which I believe is only... Is that anyone currently?
Skidja?
Skidja.
Skidja is not with us, right?
No. Nor is Flavia.
Flavia.
Oh, sorry, my brain is just registered who Sister Juliet was. You've gone back to playing the Sister of Battle. Okay.
Yeah.
My brain's finally caught up with actually things.
The season 1 lady.
Yeah. Do I still have? Oh yeah, I still have Sister Juliet's too. I in fact have your old token, Rachel.
Yay.
By the way, since we're not talking specifically campaigning stuff right now, I want to point out, as the sergeant of the Skitari, I fashioned the most Skitari amount of fellowship. 20.
You're rather respectable amount of Skitari fellowship.
It's the only acceptable type.
I mean, mine is slightly better, and I'm a filthy mutant.
Shut up, mutant.
Yeah.
Serene,
Yes,
what's the... oh, there's Alpha. Sorry. No, sorry. I haven't set up tokens in ages, so... There you are. Actually, that's a good question. Can you see his... There you go. Flavia is not here, and Scalia is not here, so it's just these 5 at the moment. That's fine. So yeah, you head underground. No one's actually given me Ziphus Navigate, have they?
Not yet.
Yeah, nobody else does. I will, but I like it.
What's your chances?
Is anybody trained in?
Nope. Mine is my chance would be 60.
I would have 1 in 5.
Or 28 if I can roll it off perception, but still bad.
Okay, I didn't realise nobody in the party has Surface Navigate.
Yeah.
Well, I still have 150 XP to spend.
I'll send it.
Could we substitute it with Survive? I was okay.
We're supposed to head down, not up into the sky. I'm pretty sure you're going the wrong way.
I'm pretty sure. Right.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
Alright,
Again-
now I just have to roll to see if it.
I told you that I would do it if you.
yeah,
It's a curse! We're not supposed to pass it.
yeah. Let's see if I can make the roll. I actually can.
It makes sense that Gray, he who is cursed, actually rolls well on the thing that nobody else can. Good job.
So, Zengu believes like you're all going the completely wrong way. However, you are all convinced. Unfortunately, like the rest of you are like, no, this is definitely the right way. And Zengu's like, but we're going the totally wrong way.
Yeah.
But wait, I wish to confirm with Zengu, like that we're going the correct way.
I believe you are going in the entirely wrong direction.
We're going in the complete wrong direction, and Zengu here is completely correct that we're going in that direction.
Except you're all convinced that you're going the right way.
Yeah,
Except
no,
Zengu.
All but Angelus and me.
Fine, you go that direction. We'll go this. Get to
Are you splitting up the party? In
Mordecai
basically hell.
looks at everyone as like, if you split up, you're dying.
Yes.
I'm not splitting my team up because you guys are having a disagreement. I would rather make it out of this somewhat okay.
Yeah. And I'm sworn to protect, so even if I'm convinced that we're going in the wrong direction, I will stay with those eyes.
So Angelus does a very smart thing and starts marking the wall as you're walking. I will reward a natural one. He starts marking the wall as you're walking, because you start walking in circles. And he's clearly able to highlight this. Seeing that, you know, the rest of you are completely bloody clueless, except Zengu. You decide to follow Zengu and Angelus's direction, his sense of direction. They, in fact, don't actually lead you round in circles. And you eventually arrive at a... you pass through multiple tunnels. Some in better conditions than others. Some seem to be at some point nesting grounds. Eventually you arrive at a subway station. And there is... you actually arrive in a subway tunnel. And there is light. The tracks don't seem to have power, but there is faint light overhead. And at the end, you see a subway train, which is shining lights. Looking past it, you think there might be a station.
Okay.
Is there any sign of life?
You can give me awareness. Now, no, wait. We don't have psychic, so I don't need to employ that rule.
Fading the fuck out of that. 19 target 50, that's 4 degrees.
Those of you that succeed see a shadow in the train's cockpit.
Okay.
The subway train's cockpit. It doesn't seem to be moving. It does seem to be humanoid, though.
Sengu will point that out. There's someone in this train, and keep his shield and blade ready.
Mordecai will prepare the galvanic rifle and train it on whatever could be. And we'll say, how many Skitarii came down with us?
Let's see, there is 4 PCs, so you would have 8 Skitarii?
I will order 3 of them to move up in a tight formation. The rest of us Skitarii will just train our galvanic rifles to cover fire if needed.
Yeah, if anyone wanted sample kits, you would have been given best quality ones. The Magoses are not afraid to hand out the nice fun toys to people that are going down to the planet, on the off chance that they get something nice back. There's one good thing about the petty squabbling of the Magoses on the station. So yeah.
They all want stuff off the surface.
So you advance, and you see that the figure is a human. They appear normal, except they're not moving. It's hard to make out details, but they seem to be pale-skinned, short black hair, wearing a uniform.
Do we know what kind of uniform it is, or is it just non-distinct uniform 95?
It's non-distinct. You would guess civilian sector of some description. They are not wearing any protective gear. Bearing in mind, you're all walking around in effectively power armor. Like, pseudo-power armor.
Seeing as my guys would probably know that this is a crazy place and that could be anything, I'm going to order those 3 guys to keep their weapons trained on the individual as we move up.
There is a door. You could. You have to get onto the train before you can get onto the station. There is a door, but it is closed.
Right.
Well, is it like in any way barred or just a closed train door?
It's just a closed subway train door. Those of you that passed your awareness also note that the train is uncomfortably in good condition. A lot of the stuff you've seen down here is like, yeah, this has been abandoned for like 10,000 years, which is really bloody obvious. This
The
seems...
train is startlingly well preserved.
Yes. It seems like it's been used, but it's not covered in rust and decay.
What?
Shots fired at London Underground.
Okay, so I tried the door.
When you touch the door, it instantly corrodes. Corrodes is not the right word. It instantly starts to rust. The paint peels off. It's like watching it rust in fast forward.
Okay.
I just look at the other.
This is very concerning.
We might just have to push forward. Does this guy show any sign of reacting?
Nope. He hasn't moved.
Hey, dead. Never know.
I will. We have to go through the train, right? To get in the station.
Well, it'll rust away.
No, no, it's the door that rusted away, not the entire train.
Well, the door hasn't rusted away. It's just when you touched it, like maybe like
Hmm?
about sort of where you physically touched it, all that rusted away.
Okay.
Okay.
I will take a sample of the rust.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you do. And then, can we try to pull the door open?
Sure. When you try to pull the door open, it is remarkably easy. When you physically touch it, it starts rusting, and the longer you touch it, the more area rusts. But the door doesn't hold any resistance.
Okay.
And you open it. You see, you can see this sort of step up because it's a subway train. So,
Yeah.
you see there are actually a number of people on the train. Most of them are wearing middle class clothing.
Hmm?
Quite decently. They're quite tidy. There is two characteristics which you all instantly notice about these people. The first is that they are not breathing. They're not dead, but they're not breathing. The second is that they have no eyes. Where their eyes should be is just empty blackness. The rest of their aside from that, they look perfectly healthy. Well, not perfectly healthy, but like perfectly alive, if they were breathing.
Do they move at all?
They do not move at all.
So there's just seats filled.
Some people are sitting, some people are standing. There's as you look in, you can see children, the elderly, a few people reading books, all sorts of it's like if I took a photo of if somebody just kept me a photo of like a subway train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like time. What I'm kind of feeling is like time has stood still, and as soon as you interact with it, the time catches up to it.
Yes, that is
That-
entirely correct.
That's how it looks.
Yeah.
And Juliet, that is what you believe from your thing.
Mordecai being the medic of the squad and the sergeant, I kind of want to just investigate one of the people. Like, just touch them, see kind of like what's up. Do they have a pulse? Just like the whole basic thing. Because they don't seem to be moving or reacting to a bunch of people basically in power armor, armed to the teeth. So, just quickly give like the closest person just like a quick little medical check. Very quick.
Do you touch them?
Yes.
Okay. As soon as you touch them, they seem to have a moment of being alive, where they like take a deep breath in, like they suddenly come out of water or something. It's like, and then their body suddenly rapidly ages. It's not just decays. Like they go from normal human being to like their hair grows, their nails grow. And it's not an optical illusion, like when it looks like they're on a dead person. It is literally their hair grows and goes white, their nails grow and start curling out, their clothes start to rot and wither. They take one or two ragged breaths before they like clutch to they sort of like curl up onto the ground, and continue this rapid aging process. Their body mummifies, and then their mummified flesh sort of decays, leaving just bleached bones.
Right.
As you look, you note that their eye sockets are completely burnt out. Otherwise...
Could I make some kind of educated guess to how well it caught up to the current time? How old the body is in its mummified state?
Well, okay, the body is actually just bones. It went through so fast, it went from normal person to literally bones. when you say mummified state, what part do you mean?
I meant by examining the bones and making an educated guess on how old the bones are since they're dead.
Mhm.
So, kind of actually wanted to make the guess as to how long ago was it that they got stuck in this?
Medicaid might be it, but if you've got like, do you have infused knowledge?
Which knowledge?
Infused
Infused.
knowledge.
Which gives you all the lures.
I did not buy infused knowledge, no.
Okay. Do you want to give me a Medicaid test then?
Sure.
Can I give it?
Sure. You can get anyone who wants to examine it can give me a Medicaid test.
Any bonus from Medikit?
Not really, because this isn't first aid. This is examining the bones.
Diagnoser might apply.
Diagnose
I have Diagnoster, yes.
Diagnoser will help, yes.
I wonder if touch one of the children grow up.
Oh, that's
You get
beautiful.
taller.
Do you want to touch one of the children?
Not out of bed.
Well, yeah, Diagnoser adds +10.
So sure, I'll go over.
Okay, you are cutting out.
Okay, what I'm gonna
No, you're cutting out.
Yeah.
Cut it out.
As in, you're cutting in and out of
Yeah.
speech.
yeah, I heard you. I was just
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell if you
Uh,
heard.
yeah, I want to touch one of the children on the shoulder.
Okay. While the two of them examine the body, you go up and touch on the children. It does indeed grow up. It grows up to about somewhere in their mid-20s, you would guess. Before it's only there for a few moments, but like their features and their face, it's not their features, but like their face suddenly has a bunch of broken glass in it, as though they'd been through a windscreen or window or something. Before they curl up and you can't see it anymore. When their body turns to bones, they are the bones of about a 20-year-old male, and you note that there are indeed a few broken glass shards, and a number of the bones are actually cracked and broken.
Okay, now this is strange.
Which was not the case for the first person, who was, I'm going to say, a middle-aged businessman, for point of reference.
Okay. What I will do, I place my shield between my face and the window, and run the free hand along the window, along the train's windows.
The window doesn't break. It actually melts. It's very slow, but it looks like it turns to like a sort of thick liquid and starts melting down as Roll20 decides to catch on fire again. And it slowly melts. It's not hot and it doesn't hurt at all. And when you stop, it's kind of like candle wax. Now, for the two that have done the, it would probably be considered inappropriate to continue touching, but also medical experiments.
Those are very medical experiments.
Those that looks at the bones of the first person, the middle-aged businessman, you would guess the bones are probably they fossilized. They're about 10,000 years old. You would guess. They have indeed fossilized.
Mordecai will hand it off to someone in his team who has a sample kit, who is carrying his effectively. Have him keep it.
Yeah, you've got a number of dedicated Skitari in your team are like sample collectors, whose job is to just collect artifacts and carry them. Additional cybernetic legs and carry weight and such. They do indeed take them. You do note that the burning of around the eyes is unnatural.
I definitely have them collect the skulls. Then I'll like do this to like at least 6 people and have all their skulls just collected, just due to the unnatural nature of it.
Is there any particular people you want to poke?
2 children, an elderly, and then just 2 about middle-aged adults is kind of what I'm going for.
I suggest also poking the guy in the
That was, I think, like,
train
spoke.
Yeah, okay.
Driver.
Let's do this one at a time, because otherwise there's so much and I can't keep up.
Yeah.
So you want to do 2 children first.
2 children.
Cool. You see a mother with her 2 children, and you just touch both of them. The first child ages until he's about he goes from about 7 till about 14. Then he starts coughing violently in blood, but continues to age for maybe mid-30s. But he progressively looks iller and iller to your trained medical eye, as though he's got some sort of medical condition. It's hard to tell because obviously his hair grows rapidly, as does his nails and such. Before he collapses and ages like the others. His sister, the 3rd child, grows up all the way through adulthood to old age. Even develops like a hunchback and like becomes a lot shorter in her old age before she collapses and dies. You decide to do the mother as well for point of reference. The mother doesn't last very long, and only to your ears you hear a gunshot, and for a split second you see a blood pool around her chest as though she's been shot in the heart.
Right.
So the windows near the kid that had glass slivers in it. None of those windows that could have an angle on him did break when I touched them, right?
Nope, they didn't break, they melted.
Okay. Yep. That exactly that.
Yes. So you wanted to do 2 elderly and 1 more middle-aged person?
1 elderly and 2 adults.
2 more adults, okay. The elderly person doesn't last very long. As soon as they seem to grasp air, they almost instantly have a heart attack. Or what you would think is a heart attack, because they clutch at their chests before they collapse. They last almost no time before they start aging. The 1 middle-aged, the first sort of middle-aged person you talk to, you touch, ages for a few years, and then his arm goes missing, but you still see the shadow of an arm.
Well, that's shitty luck.
And as he's aging, he he reaches down for a case that was next to him. It's another businessman. He reaches down for a case next to him, and the shadow of his arm actually touches the case and knocks it over, as though it was real. You also spot his one eye. More of a shadow develops underneath one of his burnt-out eyes, as a large chunk of flesh and a bit of bone disappears. Then, as his body ages and accelerates, you notice something odd. His shadow warps and changes, and when he finishes his rapid aging process, you note two oddities. The first is that he now has a cybernetic arm from about the elbow down, just above the elbow. He did not have that before he was touched, and that was where his arm disappeared to a shadow. The second is that he has a cybernetic eye where the shadow expanded around his eye sockets.
Right.
The odd thing about this is the lens of the cybernetic eye is burnt out.
That's weird. Alright. Is he still... Does he age fully to the fossilization?
Mm-hmm. His cybernetics are incredibly rusted.
Right. I'll, of course, have the team collect it, and instead of just touching another random, just middle-aged person, go touch the conductor.
You touch the conductor. The conductor seems to just age normally.
Just-
As normally as, like, the normal aging process. There is no sort of, like, violent injury or anything.
Yeah, so like the first person.
Mm.
Right. Collect the skulls. I assume somebody on the team has an implant that recorded all that.
Yes, I'm going to say all your helmets have inbuilt recording equipment.
Bada bing, bada boom.
That makes sense for these people.
Yeah.
Right. So, I'm going to suggest to the PCs that we get moving, because my theory is that if we just keep going through everybody, it could activate something just by the chaotic nature of just what we've seen so far.
And then
People
we
have
get-
just
we get
gained
stuck in
limbs.
it as well.
Well, I will
Yeah.
go touch some people to get samples because your people ought to got samples. I'd like some samples for
Yeah.
myself for study.
What I'm suggesting is make it very quick. Let's not stay here too long, because just from what I've seen, it has just suddenly brought in cybernetics that weren't there originally. So let's not figure out what else it can bring.
Well,
Angelus, who do you poke?
I was going to poke the conductor, but seeing it's already poked,
Sorry about that.
yeah. Probably one of the people that's reading a book, and if possible, one that looks the healthiest.
So yeah, as you sort of move through the train, and the train isn't that full, so it's not too hard to navigate. Getting the doors open to the station is quite easy. You touch someone in the book. Their book falls to the floor and ages rapidly, but doesn't disintegrate, which you find interesting. The person ages semi-rapidly, and you hear... Like, for a few moments there's a loud soaring noise, and you see in the side of the person a large wound, sort of just above the hip. You would guess it's some sort of chain weapon that did this.
Ooh.
Then the person crumples to... this seems to be the killing blow, as the person crumples to
to the floor.
to the floor and dies. The healthiest person does seem to last for a very long time, longer than all the others actually. You note there is a as he's aging rapidly, you spot a few shadows appear here and there, and by the time he is finished, he has a number of cybernetics, and you also note there is some cybernetic organs inside him now as well.
This must have been a noble or something, because cybernetic organs aren't available to the common man much.
Well, noble or some other type of very rich person, maybe a successful merchant or politician.
Yes.
The book is not destroyed, as I said. It's very, very delicate now, but it is not in fact destroyed.
We shall
I-
carefully put it in a containment unit.
Yes, the container units you've been given, among other things, is The pack itself has small micro grav plates in it, so you can carry heavy things without issue, and also has a number of stasis units. Knowing the delicate nature of a number of items recovered from here, so you put the book very carefully into one of the a stasis unit that fits it.
Does somebody here have an Auspex?
I do.
I was gonna say you could probably pick one of those up if you wanted. Like, if you wanted fun toys, this is the time you could have got them.
Well, could you check out one of these people to see if there is a bubble of some kind around them, where you touch, and then it pops the bubble, and their picture comes out. I don't know if the Auspex can determine temporal disruptions.
No.
No.
What sort of Auspex have you been using in your games?
I don't use an Auspex. I'm a noble. I tell other people to use them.
That sounds like some prime heresy right there.
Does your Auspex, in fact, just detect like an incredibly rare occurrence that may or may not have happened any time in the Imperium ever?
Yeah, exactly.
Next question. Do you also contain Psycho Brains into your Auspexes? I heard they are incredibly nice additions to everything. If you can think of it, just add it.
I hadn't thought of that.
You gotta be able to sense when a Psyker's around. So you put
if anyone wants an Auspex, they may freely have an Auspex. If you use it, there is weird energy signals, and for like a few, like it's almost like a momentary blip, but it's like for a split second, everyone is alive. Like there's life signs for everyone. No one moves, nothing changes, but it's like everyone's alive, and then it goes back to normal. You do note the floor of the train is quite rusted as you've been walking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you have nothing else to do, I say we just get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
I don't want to be stuck in this time loop.
I agree with Sialpha.
I don't think it's a loop so much because they all have different futures.
They do, but they are stuck until they're touched, and then they just age and die. I don't want to run the risk of us getting trapped in something like that. This place is chaotic. There's no telling what could happen. So let's not chance him. I think we should just get moving.
Very well.
Did you resolve Rachel's demonology roll?
No, sorry, because she went to be right back before I could answer. Your demonology roll tells you that you have no idea what's going on. Yeah, it's probably something warp related, but you've never heard of anything like this. To put it simply. So yeah, you easily get off the train by opening the door. It just rusts away in your hands. The station is a bit of a different scene. Instead of everyone frozen with their sockets burnt in perfect condition, the station has taken wear and tear. However, there are a number of people on the station fleeing in panic and terror. Except they're all fossilized. They're like physically fossilized. If you've ever seen like Pompeii and stuff where they've turned to statues, it's kind of like that.
So they're like fossilized in movement position.
Yes. Yeah. They all seem to be running in panic from the surface. Their clothes are still on, like they're perfect statues though.
Mm-hmm. Does it look like they're running from a specific area?
Yes, the surface entrance.
Okay, so they were fleeing underground, but then got struck by something that petrified them.
Right.
I'm not going to give that an answer, Rachel.
Okay, I'll not answer to that.
Yeah, probably there was someone.
If I ever get turned into a statue like this, please let it be in a hilarious moment.
In some sort of hilarious pose.
We shall capture you for eternity.
Anyway, but yeah, people like fleeing and running from the surface entrance into the station. But they, as I said, they are perfect statues. You can see every detail of their face. Every hair seems to be turned to stone. Even their clothes, and if they're holding anything, has also turned to stone.
I turn to the Skitari. Do the warp storms have an effect similar to this? Sometimes? I suppose it would be different.
Do we know that, Bedlight?
You know that there is a number of strange occurrences all across the surface. Well, yes, this is all really odd. This isn't like concern, if that makes sense. Like,
This is pretty normal.
Yeah, this is. You've never encountered it before, but it's not like It's not the most outlandish thing you've heard. Not that you've ever been down here, personally.
So it's entirely possible they were running from a particularly bad warp storm, or maybe one of the first warp storms, and basically got overwhelmed despite heading to an underground shelter.
Yeah. When he asked this, I just kind of like shrug his like, from what I have heard, this is mostly normal. Nothing like this has been documented, but this isn't out of what we would expect. So, whether this is panic-inducing, I wouldn't worry any more than what you should already be doing. Say about 45% worry is pretty average right now.
No, I was just trying to find a cause. A warp storm seems to make sense for something such so large as this. But,
could be anything. These could be things from before we found the planet like this. No idea, personally.
Could be demons.
these are humans, though, right?
They are indeed human.
So, and this was a colony once, long ago.
This is it is confirmed to be a human colony, but they have both archaeotech and what is suspected to be xenotech on the planet. The original purpose of the planet was believed to be a forge world, or some sort of research world.
Okay.
It is all pre-imperial. Yes, it's pre-imperial forge worlds, although some speculate that it's actually a pre-imperial research world. Although they are not the main main theorists.
Okay, shall we continue to give you a safer place?
Well, you've got the station. You've got the exit to the surface right above you, and that should take you right next to the shuttles.
Well.
Should.
Mm-hmm.
Mordecai will look back at the groups like, if we're heading up here, me and my team can take a quick peek up, make sure it's clear for you guys to move in before you take that risk.
Well,
Okay.
do so.
Alright, I will take all but 2 members of my squad, leaving 2 with them just in case something is down here that we just didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll check the surface before moving up.
Mm-hmm. So you head up onto the surface, and you seem to be in a large plaza. You suspect that this is null rod. Can you send me what that actually does? Because I've completely forgotten. I know it's a thing. I just can't remember what it does.
It's an anti-psychic device.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it does.
Cancels our power.
What I'm asking for is for Serene to copy the rules for me so I can read it.
Yep. There you go.
What is its rarity?
Let me quickly check. Have to scroll down.
Null Rod is... Where are you in this bloody list?
They're pretty rare.
Near unique.
No, very, very rare.
Unique.
Ooh, hello, Robo. I missed that. Hello? Hello? Oh no. Oh.
Yeah.
Huh? Oh. Oh, do we have back? Oh no, no, no. No. Discord status to my rescue. That's not what I clicked on. Discord status. You are lying. Ah. Ah.
Ah!
Oh, we've got life! Yay!
Hey.
I was just like about to cancel the stream and stuff because like I couldn't do
Mm.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, I left and reconnected and it fixed itself for some reason.
Okay.
Tell me to use all this guitar.
Hmm?
I'm fine with the null rod.
Fine with it?
Yeah.
All
As long
right.
as it doesn't break the server again.
Well, I just thought about it because I was like, well, everything is kind of warpy. And then my brain went to like the bane of all psychers that nobody can ever get due to its rarity. And I was like, wait, no rods are a thing.
This is the time to have fun things.
Yeah.
What? If I think of more fun things, I will ask about them.
Okay. I'll probably say no because you've already got enough fun things.
All the fun
But yeah.
things.
So yeah, you head up into a large plaza. You suspect that this would have been a... This looks like an ideal landing zone, from your knowledge of such things. And you suspect this is probably why when the ships crashed, because they tried to land here. There is a large statue in the middle. Well, the remains of a large statue in the middle. Only the base still stands. The rest of the statue seems to be broken around it,
Right.
as the GM perhaps.
So no way of working out what it depicted once.
No. There are, in fact, a number of people wandering around, and there appears to be 3 ships. They are of similar, but not exactly the same model as your one.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
What were you going to say?
I was gonna ask if they've noticed us, but seeing as they're walking around, they probably haven't.
If you've ever seen the Prey spacesuit, it looks, what they're wearing looks a bit like that.
Right.
I have not, so...
New prey?
New Prey spacesuit. I'm just trying to find a good image of the suit alone.
Because I know old prey had a bunch of alien buttholes. That's all I remember from that one.
What?
Alien buttholes. Okay.
Okay.
You haven't played the old prey?
Yes, I have actually, and I don't remember that at all. So I think you're thinking of the wrong game, or just
Mhm.
Oh,
being
I remember.
weird. You're being weird. Stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, stop.
I will
Let's...
find a picture of it.
No, I don't care.
Please
Stop
don't.
it. No, no. Wow.
So they're wearing this sort of
Yeah.
suits.
Sort of a weird. It doesn't look imperial, but it looks human-made, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Does it look chaosy?
No.
No?
Not really. They seem to be like doing various things. A few of them stop and look very strangely at your group, and one of them eventually approaches it. You do spot there are several guards about as well, carrying weapons. I don't trust you. No, stop it, Serene. No. If you're sorry, you wouldn't have posted it.
You're right.
So, delete. A number of them do have weapons, and one of them walks up to you. He's not wearing red, he's wearing blue.
Right.
He goes, greetings. Who are you?
You do. I mean,
Greetings, Al. Do these guys have any, like, markings, like patches, like, oh, we are this group, or anything?
Yes, but then you recognize.
I'm
I'm sorry, it's hot and it's making me sleepy.
He said, who are you, Margaret?
Yes.
I am Alpha Mordecai, and I'll give off a long, coded number of Mechanicus bullshit for my specific identification.
Okay, yeah.
It was like, we're on this planet doing research. Who are you? I don't think you should be here?
Oh, I'm a researcher, Delverus. I didn't just think of that name off the top of my head. Honestly, you spent much longer in the train than I thought you would, actually.
Yeah.
It was quite interesting.
It happens.
I'm glad you found that interesting, because that was just like, I'm just going to think of something off the top of my head to do in the tunnels, because I thought you were going to go across the surface.
Welcome to every Out of the Abyss.
Yeah.
no, you mean welcome to any campaign that has human interaction.
Yes.
Yeah.
That too.
Welcome to any campaign I ever do. The party decides to do the wrong thing.
Never give options if you expect something.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I probably shouldn't, but I'd like. Anyway, yeah, I'm researcher Davos. I don't recall anyone else being here. How can I help you?
We are here to investigate the shuttles, because I have no way of lying. We're here to investigate those shuttles. There's been some problems recently with air traffic. How did you land here? As far as we understand it, there's been crashes.
Oh, yes. We landed here a while ago. There was five of us shuttles. Yes, and when we were over here, we've been using this plaza as our base camp, and one of our shuttles headed off to a large nearby structure which seemed to be intact. If you look over there, and he points to the like where you roughly the defense grid is, and you can see a large, sort of like a bit like a palace, and it has a large dome roof. And he points to it. That there seems to be some sort of military base or something. It's got some sort of air-to-ground defense system. It's in the dome. It shot down. One of our teams went over there to investigate, and they seem to have accidentally activated it. Clipped one of our other shuttles, and it crashed down.
Does this guy's name ring any bells from anybody on the station? Like anything?
You can give me an intelligence test.
Any
Or-
bonuses?
Trade memory. I'll give you a +10 because you are actually part of the Skitarian stuff, and so you have access to records.
I'm a fate that because I'm suspicious of this dude. That's 5 degrees of success.
Delvari. Well, Delvari doesn't remind you of anything. His suits does. A number of suits similar to it have been recovered at various locations in various states. A number of them have been in. There were 3 instances where these suits have been recovered, as far as you can recall. One was at a crashed ship, which seemed to be somewhere between the Fortnite and the Imperium arriving. Maybe 8,000 years old.
Right.
The second one was oddly enough found in a shelter. One of the shelters the Mechanicus put down. The suit seemed perfectly fine, but the host had seemed to... the suit itself contained amount of dust. No one knows quite what happened and why the suit suddenly appeared there. The third suit appeared in a deep underground structure. It was some sort of bunker. A number of the suits there were found. It seemed like the bunker housed a number of people for a number of generations. It's unknown if the bunker was used when the planet first fell or at a later date.
So, are the suits specifically detailed as being high priority recoveries, by chance?
Along with like a million other things.
Yeah, but okay, so the suits are quite high priority.
Yeah. Okay, you're meant to use your like evaluate like what you think is high priority, because effectively to every Magos everything is high priority.
This is true. Right.
There are so many. Yeah. Okay. Let me rephrase that. There are so many Majoses, regardless of what you took. Someone would say this is the top priority, and I must have it.
Yeah.
So it is up to you if you feel like this particular, like if one of these suits is a high priority, or if something else is a high priority.
Yeah, I will have one of the people in my squad move down and collect the group, seeing as it's mostly safe from what I
So
can.
you and your Skitari would have node spheres, or noospheres, which are a form of inbuilt microbeads, which allow you to communicate thoughts and ideas instantly between each other.
Well, yeah.
In tech binary, so they translate like that, as opposed to actually needing to say anything, just to relay.
Okay. I'm not brushed up on Skitari lore, so thank you for that.
No, I'm not either, but I've been playing a Skitari campaign, so I've learned a bit.
Yep. Alright. I'll send that stuff over to one of the two I left down there with them.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them up.
They just, to the rest of you, they both just suddenly nod and like gesture for you to come up.
Okay.
So, Mr. Delvaris?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing in the plaza currently? Yeah.
Oh, we currently can't leave, so we're just sort of working, processing samples and this, that, and the other. We're waiting to see hear if we can hear back from our team that's gone over to the ruins. It's been a while, but we're hopeful.
What are your current, like, if I may ask, what are your current plans on the research? Like, once you're done here, what do you plan to do? Any bases you have to go to? Like, I'm just curious because I never noticed you guys before.
He gives you a odd look and is like, I don't think I'm quite comfortable telling you where we're based. Forgive me, but you're strangers. You could be demons or some other horror of this planet.
Right. I've just never seen you before, so I was wondering if maybe you were from one of our bases. Seems not.
No, our bases don't walk around in large boxes. He gestures to your large... your armor's not bulky, but it's certainly bulky compared to theirs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, you've got like the classic...
standard Imperium stuff.
Yeah, you've got like the classic sci-fi big armor pauldrons sort of thing. Not huge, not like Space Marine levels or anything, but like, you know,
They're
it's
only
certainly
half the size of my torso. Ah.
you know, it's certainly large. You know, larger than normal armor. Because it's protected from the elements. They seem to be wearing flipping rubber jumpsuits, from what you can tell.
Right.
If you're typing stuff and I don't see it, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, Rachel is, Juliet, sorry, is a bit bulkier than the rest of you, but even she's not, like, you know, massive.
Right.
If I don't notice it, it's because I've decided to stand up and stretch my legs. Sorry.
Corpus?
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 Oh. So, Tavares, can you refresh my memory? What is the date again? I gotta keep track of stuff on a. I have to keep notes, so I need to make sure my dates are correct.
God damn it, because I don't know the dates. He goes, oh yes, it's 692C 11 slash 7/13, I believe.
Right.
That
the
means
correct date?
absolutely nothing to any of you.
Yeah.
No. I was sitting there. I was like, "The fuck does that mean?"
That is not imperial standard dating at all.
Would any of our historians know anything about pre-imperial timekeeping?
If anyone wants any appropriate laws they want to test on, they can give me a try. I'll allow anything like Xeno, if people have that, or anything. Anyone?
I have
Cryptology?
Cryptology? Nah, cryptology is not really going to apply here. You don't think he's talking in cryptic. You just think he's talking nonsense, honestly.
I've got administratum, rogue traders, bureaucracy.
I'll allow you to roll a rogue trader. Rogue traders often run into Xenos, and they have to convert calendars, so I'll allow that. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but I'm stretching it, so I don't care.
Make it with 1 degree?
2.
2.
Oh, 2. You think he's saying about the right date. A few human... some of the pre-humans in the Expanse had a unusual calendar. And from what you remember, that sounds about right. He might be about a year out, you think. Although without any additional documentation or, like, you know, anything to reference against, you're just making an educated guess. But you suspect that at most he's a year out.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that was last year or next year. Time.
Yeah, it's
Fine.
anyway, I mean, not seeing him.
Interesting. I'm gonna let the group of PCs do their thing. Just gonna take up a defensive perimeter. Just casual guard stuff.
Ah, okay, that's what you meant by Corpus. I had no idea what you meant. I've never played Warframe, so... Ah, interesting. Yeah, that's a bit more what you look like, and he's like there in his rubber jumpsuit.
Do you know that? I'm just wondering. You've been down here for quite some time. Have you not had any warp storms?
Oh, yes, we've had warp storms, but our shuttles are highly protective against such things. He gestures to them. You do note that they are, while they have a number of similarities, they are also different. For starters, they seem to have a cat inside.
Their horn is just a cat meow. Pilot, just.
I'm
have a
sorry.
bit of
I'm
fun.
sorry. It was just the way that I paused and it meowed.
Yeah, no.
Chematic timing.
Yep. That's my animals.
It's cat powered.
Yeah.
Still
That's
nothing-
why it's so.
It's not as good as when Cynical decided to tell us all in the mod meeting that he had snacks and bagels. Bearing in mind, he told us that he couldn't speak and had no microphone currently beforehand, so that was quite funny. But yeah. He's like, oh yes, our ships have a much stronger, have a very strong Galio field. It protects us from the worst of the warp storms.
Do they also have some form of stealth? I'm sure you're aware of the base in orbit.
Um,
Do you say that?
Yeah.
He looks a little. Oh, actually, you can't see his face, but he kind of goes, yes. Why wouldn't he use stealth?
I would turn to the Skitari and say, I guess you wouldn't. You're unaware that there were other researchers here.
Oh, that was to Mordecai, I assume?
Well, no, I turn to look at the Skitari and then I look back and I say, I guess you wouldn't. I just they seemed unaware that there were other researchers. I would say that to the person, the new person we're talking to.
Alright. I just misunderstood you for a second there. My bad.
Yeah, he's like, I guess. I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused by that.
what my master asks of you is, when did you land here?
Oh,
Was it... was the station already in orbit when your ships arrived here?
he like stops, and you get the impression that he's thinking. He's like, there was a station in orbit. Malador, I believe, station. Yes, Malador station. It was maybe a few years ago, although it might be a bit longer. Well, yes, no, actually, well, it would have been longer. Sorry, I always forget that we had a period of cryosleep when the when our base was first established. Yes.
I turn to the Skitari and ask them if they know of a predecessor of Tranquility Station.
Do we?
Tranquility Station once discovered that there was in fact a station originally orbiting Fragmentum that had crashed into the planet.
If he's talking about the last station, it's on planet now. It crashed. Mordecai says that quite bluntly. Like, just a fact.
Dalvera seems rather concerned by this. He's like,
do we know the date that it crashed? Because Mordecai would probably end up saying that as well.
Around the time that the ship that was crashed was found, if that makes sense, about 8,000 years ago.
Yeah, he'll say like 8,000 years ago, that ship crashed into the planet.
That station.
Yeah, that station.
I don't believe we were in cryostasis for that long. No, that is... No. That can't be right.
I assure you, sir, it is correct.
Liar.
Why?
Wow, Norwegian.
Lay down. Try not to wah a lot. Wah a lot.
Please.
Sorry, that devolved into nothingness. No more worrying. Stop it. I will smite ye.
Yeah.
I can justify randomly smiting ye.
How, just in a question of ignorance from the player, how old is the Imperium?
10,000 years old.
Okay, so that would have occurred during
Plus.
the Imperium's beginnings.
Yes. Now, for reference, okay, I think the Imperium is a little bit older than 10,000 years. So for reference, the Horus Heresies and all that sort of jazz happened in the 31st millennium. It is now the 41st millennium. The Imperium didn't get to Yinderfell until after the Horus Heresy and various other events.
Okay.
Right.
So
but
it isn't.
they would have been here right about that time.
Yeah, it is entirely possible that there were these humans were in the area at the time of that they say they were. It's entirely plausible. The Imperium hadn't reached Yinderfell quite then. Millennium is 10,000. How long is a millennium?
1,000 years.
1,000 years?
10 millennia.
10 million is 10,000. Yeah, okay. I'm not like being an idiot. Sorry.
No. All is fine.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Yinderfell. They would have been here about the time the first humans were arriving in Yinderfell. Now, Fragmentum wasn't discovered until a lot later. I'm not entirely sure when the humans would have arrived in the system, but the Wrath Reef wasn't really. It still isn't really charted, due to the nature of warp phenomena that it constantly suffers. It's very prone to it. So.
All right. Do you have any intel about this defense system?
No, unfortunately not. As I said, the research team we sent there was hasn't reported back. It's been a while now, but
By a while, do you mean weeks, years, a millennium?
he thinks it's like a few months at most, at tops.
Con scouting, they call it.
Can you all give me a awareness test, please?
Fucking jeez.
No.
Ah!
I used up all my 20s earlier on that mission assignment guarantee move.
How can you have 6 awareness?
Not by just not taking awareness.
Yeah. And
Um,
rather crappy perception on top of that.
yeah, having 26 perception and no awareness.
Anyways, I have 4 degrees of success.
I just barely failed.
Icarus and Zengu, as you're like watching everyone, you notice a few things. First off, the ships don't seem to be running at all. There are 3 ships, they seem to be completely still. Secondly, you spot of the people. They don't seem to be coming. They're like a researcher, and they seem to be processing. You spot a very obvious and large crack in their helmets. You suspect that helmet is completely useless. Now, the sensors in your gear are telling you that this air is very toxic.
Okay.
You see that your ships have good protection versus the warp storm. Can they do that while powered down?
Oh, no, but we would have to power them up to thing. We're just a little low on your fuel, is all. We just want to conserve it. You know how it is.
Indeed. That makes sense. I noticed that some of you don't seem to have properly working helmets. How is it that you breathe this air?
He kind of like stops and thinks, is like, well, I guess that would kill us. As you like are watching him and you notice the first mark, the cracked helmet on the first one, you kind of like start looking at him a little bit closer, and you spot a tiny. At first, you just thought it was dirt, but it is in fact a tiny puncture on his suit.
Oh.
Now, even a small puncture like that, left unchecked, would probably kill someone.
Your own suit, researcher Deveris, also seems damaged.
He looks down and he goes, oh yes. Oh, yes, now I remember.
I'm starting to reach for my weapon.
Yes. And you get the impression, like, everyone else in the camp has, like, come to the same conclusion as him, and is all turning to face you. As Juliet decides to be right back.
Juliet walks back down and
just because they realize they're dead now doesn't mean they have to attack us.
No, that is true.
I'm thinking something else is actually going on here than them just being dead.
I'm curious to hear what you're thinking.
I'm thinking these are demons. Possessed.
I was thinking these were some type of like Nurgle zombie type thing, but you know, a little bit different.
I'm thinking like, oh yes. Oh, it does appear we're dead. Sadly you had to figure that out.
Yeah.
He goes, oh yes, it does appear that we have indeed expired. It is most unfortunate. He like... I suppose there's no need for this now. He then just like lifts his helmet off. Oh, he lifts like the front part of his helmet. There's still like a bit of a backplate behind him. And you see that instead of a person, he's just a shadow. Like a black shadow where his face would be. His eyes are two dots of silver. Yeah, I thought of shooting these people. Then I realised they're not corporeal.
Yeah, like originally when they started talking, I was like, these dudes are suspicious. I should probably shoot them. I should give the order. They're like, nah, I'm gonna indulge it. I'm gonna talk to him. I should have shot him.
A few of the others seem to also take off their helmets and just like... they actually have different coloured eyes, oddly enough. They're not just all silver.
What are you?
No idea. He like takes off a glove and like looks at his hand. It's quite hard to make out details. But like it sort of... If they like yeah, he kind of like holds it up to his face, and you can't really tell where his hand is and his face is when they're overlapping like that. But you can see the outline very clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't make out any detail whatsoever.
Can I attempt a check on Scholastic Lore Occult to figure out
Sure.
what that might be? Any modifiers?
Give it to me straight, and I might give you some modifiers in secret, if I'm feeling kind.
Wow.
Or I don't have to, because you roll naturally.
Yeah.
You suspect that these are... you've heard of something called warp shadows.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they're generally on space hulks or damaged ships, usually damaged warp reactors.
Okay.
Warp shadows generally are considered harmless, although most people are very suspicious of them and like try and purify them because they don't want them to solidify. Warp shadows, when they're seen, are generally individuals who have died in some sort of warp instance.
Well, that entirely matches up with what we know of that. So, working theory, their Gala fields failed at some point because the ships became unpowered, and they were killed by the next warp storm. It just continued on in this warp shadow form.
Yes. Now, what you know of warp shadows is that they are just shadows. They don't go around walking and talking and having eyes and, you know, doing stuff or wearing equipment. A few people have. You remember one case of warp shadows once doing some maintenance, but it was when no one was watching. The level of warp shadow you're dealing with, you've never heard of. Like, you make an educated guess that they're warp shadows, but you've never heard of them. Like, oh yeah, we died.
I mean, there is a lot of warp going around.
There is indeed a lot of warp going on, but you've never heard of this. They do definitely seem to tense up now that they've kind of like realised they're warp shadows. Also because the party has tensed up, because they've realised they're warp shadows.
Oh yeah, the Skitarii are ready for something to go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't seem to... They kind of tensed up, but they're not acting threatening.
Ooh. Kinda want to test the no rod on them. I doubt it'll have an effect, but I'm curious.
Do you want to go around trying to murder the warp shadows? Bearing in
No.
mind there's like 30 to 40 of them.
Yeah.
No. Just kind of want to turn one on near it, see what happens. I'm gonna hold back for now, though. I'll go with my gut feeling saying that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're already now believing you're in a ghost story, you should have, like... You completely missed the train.
Yeah, the train was straight out of Metro last light. That's the feeling I got from it.
Thank you. I do try to give you interesting encounters that, like...
Yeah. They are.
Like, that train section was straight the ghost scenes in the Metro games, where you walk in, you just see the people sitting there.
I mean,
and
it's
if
not
you stay there too long, bad things
Yeah.
happen.
Or if you walk into the shadows, is the issue.
Yep. It's also if you stay there too long, I think something bad happens.
Yeah, or if you get hit by the, or if you move when the ball lightnings them out.
Anyways.
Oh, that game's good. I should play it again. Anyway. So, yeah, he kind of, like, takes a moment to, like, look at his hand, and he's like, I suppose I am a warp shadow. You're not one by... I suppose I am something unusual. He seems a bit unnerved by it, and puts his glove back on and goes, "You're not this sign."
We are not.
Okay.
But at least we weren't last we checked. We only came down here this day.
Oh, interesting.
So, a rather random question then. When was the last time you might have gone down into that tunnel down there?
The tunnel? We've been down there a few times. There was just a bunch of statues.
And the train?
Train?
Subway train.
There's no train down there.
So the statues came before the train. Interesting.
Have you been down there recently?
Not particularly. What is this train? Show me.
Suppose we can show him?
Yeah.
Downstairs?
You walk downstairs, and there is in fact no train.
Do we still have the bones, the book, and all that?
You check your sample kits, they are all still there. But there is no train.
Okay.
Well, I'm glad we are out of this. We get out of this anomaly before it disappeared.
What train? He's like, he's still looking like really confused at you. Like, you get the impression he's looking confused. It's like, what train? There is no train.
Well, there is a train track, correct?
There is, yes, it's a subway station. I am not an idiot.
Well, then somewhere there's a train.
There's no train here. You were saying there was a train here.
There was before, and it seems it has disappeared.
You actually look where the train was, and there was actually a number of statues on the line where the train was.
Do those statues look anything like the people we saw on the train?
Yep.
Then other question, can we play back our recordings?
You try. You notice there's something really odd. You hear the audio. Well, there's a few things odd with it. First off, the visuals seem to cut out whenever you're looking at the train itself. That includes when you're in the train. Secondly, the audio sounds like there is actually people, like, there are other people there, like there's passengers on a train, and you can even hear the train itself. I really love SCP. I'm such a huge SCP fan, horror fan. That's why I'm so happy to play Curse of Strahd. It's just like, I love horror. I'm sorry.
I read the first 345 SCP entries, as well as sporadic ones, but that was like
some of them
a
are
year
just like
and a half ago.
some of them are just bonkers.
Obviously, the slime one is the best one.
I can't remember the slime one. I really like the origami dragon ones, or the Lego. The Lego's amazing.
I think it's 347. It's a cute little slime ball. Its whole shtick is it makes people happy. It like absorbs you, tickles you, all that whatnot. It's just literally a ball of happiness.
No, I like the. Oh, there's some really bonkers ones. There's one where you can't write anything down about it, and you can't say anything about it. But it can't understand images, so the entire document is done by images. Which is
one of the most interesting ones. There's a hole in a wall that goes to a completely different like universe or something like that, and the SCP scientists trade through that, and at one point sent in a disease that murdered the entire universe on that side just to see what would happen. It was something weird like that.
I do like. There's actually a really good show on YouTube, which is like set in the SCP universe, and it's a guy who can't be killed. And how the SCP found him was that his mother had abandoned him in a car on a really hot day, and an elderly woman had found him in a car full of 17 dead babies. Because he kept dying and then respawning.
Oh.
Because he dies and then just respawns next to himself. So there was just a car full of dead babies. And it's just stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he, like,
Anyways,
yeah.
should probably stop sidetracking. Then after the session.
I'll happily go in about SCPs.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Rachel, for your demonology role, I wrote occult before, and we sort of figured out that those are astoundingly physical warp shadows.
Yes, sorry, you were away. The guy removed his helmet, and he has, his features are completely black, like, shadow. They have no... Yeah, they're basically shades. Pretty much. He seems unnerved by the fact that he's a shade. He did also realise he was dead. Which was an interesting discovery for himself. He then told you that he couldn't find the train, like, what training you want about. Oh yeah, the other thing is, when you touch the bodies, you can hear the person. They're not speaking low gothic or high gothic, they're speaking some sort of... You can't tell. It does sound like a human tongue.
Does our friendly shadow understand this tongue and can translate it?
He does not. Oh, he cannot, anyway. He does say it sounds like... I've heard of one or two recordings. It sounds like the native tongue. I think. It's very hard to tell. what is up with this? You also note that when there was an instance, when a person died in a more violent way, there is also a scream or a shout of pain, and the sound of whatever killed it. So the first one is sounds like motor vehicles crashing, and the shattering of glass. The second one that died violently, I believe, was a gunshot.
Yep.
Gunshot
to the chest.
Yeah, gunshot to the chest. Oh no, there is also one of a kid. One of the ones which started coughing blood, I believe. A kid.
Yeah.
You note there is actually a heart rate monitor. With that one. There's the gunshots, and there is also the sound of a chainsaw revving up for a few moments as well, for one of them. Oh, and the soldier, there is there is the sound of an explosion, followed by a chainsaw as well. Or what you assume is... no, not a chainsaw, a power sword. Oh, the one with the rusty cybernetics. There's an explosion, followed by a sound of like a power sword arcing. The only sound of that any of you recall hearing, because the bodies didn't really make a sound except like heavy breathing. The only sound any of you recalled it was the gunshot.
Right.
Latin is Hygel, so I don't think any of you have polyglot or any exotic languages.
Nope.
So, but yeah. That is what your recordings show. And you note all recordings record all the same sounds.
Right.
But they only seem to record the sounds when the camera is static.
Right.
So
I think we had best get on our way to accomplish what we've come here for and get off this planet.
Yes. I'm going to mark down the coordinates of this place, though.
The researcher actually, as you're sort of like saying, can you do me a favour? No, can you do me two favours? The direction you're heading in, one of our ships crash landed there. I would have loved to investigate it, but I don't want to leave the base on the off chance that they make it back here. Although it's a bit pointless now. But could you investigate the crash site, please?
it's on the way to the defense station, right?
If there are any survivors, can you send them this way, please?
Will do.
Certainly.
Yeah, he seems to like struggle with the concept of like he's dead. You get the impression that he's not quite grasping the idea that he's like dead, and he seems to just be a normal person. He's gone out, he goes over and puts his helmet on. He's like, you hear him mutter like why am I not wearing this?
Can we find any of these guys that are alive?
You can't really see into their faces, but as you go around and like look at them, you know most of them have breach suits in some way or form.
Right.
So we can safely assume that everyone in this space camp is a warp shadow.
You get the impression that like also if like one of them died to warp storms. Shut up. He's got like more than 3 lines of dialogue, thank you very much. So he's got 5.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Look, this isn't one of the Skyrim guards that's going to tell us about the arrow.
Yeah.
Or stealing sweet rolls.
Still, let's move on, and let those warp shadows be shadows.
Yeah. He also asks if you can check on the team that is at the defense station. They might know more about it, since that they might. He believes that they. that he believes that his team turned on the station, and they might know more of what's happened. They might be able to. They might be stuck or something, and they might be able to turn it off, or they might know a way to turn it off and can't do it.
Fair enough.
Right.
They might just know more. Full stop.
So how far away is that from us now?
Still a
Oh,
few
we're-
miles.
Okay, yeah, we're about halfway, right?
Yeah, you're maybe a third of the way there. The crash site isn't too. The crash site is quite close to the station. Davaris is like, oh yes, when we worked out how to attack the station we sent a second team there. Unfortunately, they were shot. The defences turned on before they reached it and crashed nearby. They might have made it to the station actually.
Yeah. Then I suppose we head on.
Indeed.
Now, are you going to go back underground, or are you going to try and take the surface?
How far is it?
On the surface, you do see that he does give you some maps and such. And he's able to point out that there is a major road that you guys could take, which would. Yes, it's open, but it would cut a big chunk of your journey off.
It's only a couple miles. We should be able to get there within a half hour.
Yeah. Sure, let's try surface.
Well, we've been going for 2 hours, or near enough. I would like to go grab a drink, if that's okay.
Sure.
So do you want to take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Sure.
The dog disagrees with your notion.
Yeah.
So I start the stream back up and it's a dog bark. That's great. Negative
it's
audio
the little
spiking.
churro. I am in the living room now because I had to let the dogs out, so you might hear more barking.
So,
Or not.
So the question, the answer to the question is now answered. Who let the dogs out?
It's indeed
Yeah.
true.
I also wouldn't call that barking.
I think the
Yes.
correct term is yipping.
Oh, that's cobbled.
No, they yap. There's letter difference. It's okay. We all get it confused at some point.
Yeah. I would call that sound your dogs make squeaking.
You want me to bring the other two in so they can bark and howl?
Rather not, but
No, because they'll also just yip.
Also, that's not a dog. That's a rat.
Chihuahuas, I agree wholeheartedly.
anyway.
No, I'm fine with this discussion going on because I don't actually have much planned next.
I'm just waiting for the sudden combat where we all die horribly.
No.
Yeah.
Now, if you have no more ideas to go forward for this week, that's no problem.
No, I can do maybe another bit. I'll do one more encounter. I don't have the station planned, if that makes sense.
Fair enough.
So yeah, you with the Delvirus' directions, you make it onto a large highway.
Mm.
Sorry, I got some nice cold flavoured water. It's so nice in this weather.
Yeah.
Highways, better than lowways.
Yeah. It is quite hard. It's not hard going. It does start to rain, which reduces visibility. The rain is also a dark purple color, so
Purple rain.
Yeah.
Alpheus Angelus starts singing and is immediately smited.
Yep, that's the entire Skatari team.
You want to
That's-
taking the high road. So yeah, you start travelling along, and it's not too hard to spot roughly where the shuttle went down. Now, unfortunately, you are stuck on the highway. There is no easy way off. You do have to climb down here to get to the crash site and to the station.
Okay.
Enter not in fact Heresy.
Hmm?
Oh my gosh.
Well, no. Our way is the highway.
That is indeed. Correct. So yeah, you have to climb down. Can you all make me an athletics test, please?
The one skill nobody else has.
Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Can it be acrobatics?
You can't backflip off the highway.
Well, you're wrong, kiddo.
Would you like to backflip off the highway?
I don't even see the problem.
Well, that's why, of course, that's why I wanted it to be acrobatics.
Does somebody have a rope or something?
Does
Grab
anybody
hold.
have a screwdriver? I've seemed to have lost most of my limbs.
Alpheus actually isn't, Mordecai isn't actually too bad, nor is Icarus. You do
I
fall,
didn't do
but...
bad.
Huh?
61 target 5. The acrobatics was just me
Oh,
showing.
sorry, I read your acrobatics.
You're fine.
I actually have a grappler and line, so I climbed down with those 4 degrees of success and basically lay down a rope for the others to climb down.
Okay, fair enough.
See?
Um,
That's why we take him along, because he thinks of this stuff.
Okay, fair enough. I don't get to damage you from falling off a highway.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, you can still say make an athletics check to see if you can hold on to the rope. It will.
Yeah, but you all failed miserably.
I'll just I'll roll to make you happy. Are you happy now?
Wow.
Did you fate that? Sorry.
I was muted.
Hey.
No, I didn't
Okay.
fade it. I was just rolling because Balto was like, I'll just roll to see.
Mhm.
And of course, I use up my 1-3 for the section. Fuck.
Your one mandatory 3 for the session is now used. You cannot use it again. If you do, your head explodes. In real life.
Yes. I'm gonna go let the dogs in. I'll be right back.
Why is that in the dogs? Why isn't that in dogs?
Tending to the dogs.
None of you sustain major injuries, but you do. It is a struggle to climb down, and it does take quite a while. You are informed by the shuttle. There is still 4 guards at the shuttle, along with the pilots.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, all your egos are bruised. You were informed by the shuttle that the storm seems to be changing, and it may or may not be threatening their current state location. The sooner that you can lower the defenses, the better, so they can move in to a more sheltered location.
Gotcha.
We are doing what we can.
So you see the shuttle. It's about a block away. You can see it quite easily because it's bright blue against the purple stained stone. You notice that a lot of this stone and concrete and stuff is, at least on the surface, stained purple. Most likely by warp energies.
Does that ship look powered?
As you watch it, there is a flicker of power from it.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Now it is 3 stories up, smashed into the side of a building.
Yep.
So how do you head up to it?
Can we tell how old it is?
It seems relatively new,
Okay.
but then that doesn't really tell you anything on this planet.
No, it doesn't.
I suppose we could try to go through the building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, can we go into the building and up, maybe?
You can indeed. You head on in, and you eventually see the shuttle. Now, the door is open to it, the back door, but as you are up here now, you realise that the shuttle is probably not quite as sturdy as it first looks.
Mm-hmm.
You might not want to all go in there.
Yeah.
Alright, everybody, pile in. Pile in, come on.
No,
Let's
we
go.
don't want to fall again. Well, I don't want you to fall
Skitari
again.
first? We are the escort team.
You are also probably the heaviest.
Nope. Oh. Discord?
Hello?
Hello?
Okay.
Okay, seems to work.
Did everybody else have that major lag spike?
No?
Mm.
No?
No,
Oh.
just me? Okay. I'll go
Um,
for it.
yeah, I don't want Skitari first or me first.
You and Mordecai can go in. Well, you and me.
You and this other person called Mordecai can go in.
Yeah, why do you think I'm M-3-1C?
Yeah, better
That's-
Mordecai.
Yeah, that's M-3-3D-2C.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We are literally engineered to be replaced upon death.
Anyways, I would say I go first and keep my shield ready.
It looks, as you enter, it's sort of a similar configuration to your ship. 16 passengers plus cargo space for a decent sized cargo.
Anyone living or undead here?
There is some dead. There's no undead as far as you can tell.
One dead. That's heresy. Burn the ship.
Huh?
There's no undead. There's just dead.
Yeah. Okay, so
Checking the dead. Are they shades or are they actual like people?
Well, okay. I keep going to describe them, and you keep asking me a question about them. I can describe them.
sorry.
Or keep muttering about how they're... Sorry. There are 9 bodies strapped in to the seats, plus 3 that have had their straps broken in various ways. They are also wearing the same sort of jumpsuit as the other ones you found. 4 of the dead, one of which is unstrapped, the others are strapped, seem to be guards of some description, in more armoured suits. And they are all wearing the red suit, as opposed to any of them wearing blue. None of them are moving as though they are alive. You can also see they did bring some equipment in large boxes, and there is also the door to the cockpit.
Let's check the cockpit first. Make sure there's nothing in there. Or if there is, what's in there?
There are 2 bodies, and what you at first glance think are servitors, but they seem far less fleshy and far more like robotic humans. Maybe there's some sort of Skitari or something along that nature? You aren't quite sure. But there are 2 pilots. Oh, there's actually 3 pilots in this one, and there are 4 of those weird servitor Skitari things.
Wait. They looked less flashy than normal servitors.
Yes. They, looking at them closer, they seem to be completely metal.
Right.
Doggo also thinks that's heresy.
They are my heresy dogs. They bark as heresy.
So yeah, that is what you see. Is indeed what you perceive with your eyes.
Not with our eyes.
Not, yeah, no, it's heresy. Yeah, what do you do?
We kill ourselves because we're heresy.
Okay.
No.
Next week we'll be rolling up for season 3. No, what do you do?
Now that the dogs have stopped barking, we should check those crates.
Do you want to check them on the ship or take them off?
Pull them off first, yeah.
Cool. So when Serene starts doing a sweet toy, you remove the crates. You open them. Some of them just seem to contain basic equipment like you've got. Backpacks for travelling, sample kits. It's certainly not Imperial, but certainly of human nature. There is some sort of large device which you're unfamiliar with.
We should probably back that one for the Megi.
Oh yeah.
At a glance, it seems like some sort of portable generator.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Dogs, please.
Mordecai, could you please scan this device with your aspects?
Yes, I can, and I shall do so.
Beep 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 beep. You scan it. Actually, can you give me awareness or tech use test?
Awareness. Got it. Because I actually don't have tech use.
Why don't you? You're a bloody Skitari.
Because I had to hand build this guitar using various rules. He's actually technically built as a rogue trader, but I built him as sensible as I could think of a Skitari.
Fair enough. Well, give me the roll.
I
You-
will fade it.
Perceive nothing. Jon Snow.
Fuck.
You perceive nothing. It's in fact a metal box.
Hmm.
What's going on down there? What up there?
In there.
They brought it out.
I didn't run that.
Let's
I
let
thought
him
the
play.
opposite side.
Yeah, my aspect seems to not be liking the weather.
Would those 5 degrees on awareness reveal anything about that?
You think you can turn it on?
I will not know.
Looking it over, you don't think it, at first thought you thought it was a generator of some description, but looking it over more, you think it's some sort of device, like, it generates power, yes, but the power is used internally for something.
Mm-hmm.
Could I give a scholastic lore tech?
Sure.
4 degrees of success.
Looking at it, like, at a certain angle, you think you can see bits and pieces that remind you of, from void ships. Well, actually not void ships, the station. A Gallia field projector.
Hmm.
Wait, what? A portable Galliffield generator.
Portable gallon thing.
Gala.
Generator.
Gala.
I
Gala.
think one of your Magi will make a jump in saltos if he sees that thing. At least one
most
of them.
certainly.
Let's just leave it
Mordecai motions one of the Skitari. I say motions, he uses the brain thing. Throws a
No,
thought
it's-
over.
New sphere.
Sphere.
New sphere.
To come collect it, and I would like to collect 2 of the servitors. Or whatever they are in the front.
So it takes a little bit because you actually have to unplug them.
Yeah.
And carrying both the generator and or these one of those weird servitors will basically mean the Skitari is fully loaded, and will be less effective.
I think it's worth it.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you
We
unplug
would-
the first one and you drag it out. You start unplugging the second one and it comes to life and it's like and it starts like almost flailing. You note that the ship starts rocking when it starts flailing.
I will anchor myself to the building outside using my grapnel and move to the cockpit to basically help pulling out Mordecai.
Yeah, I'm not gonna try to salvage it, it's too risky. We've got enough.
I want to make a test, but I'm not sure what to call.
What are you looking to test to check for?
Not to get hit by a falling ship as it falls out around you.
Could be
Dodge.
dodge or straight agility.
Yeah, dodge or straight agility from both of you, please.
Both the same for me. Fuck. What is my luck today?
Zangu, can you please give me an agility test as well?
Faded. Faded.
Would no. First want to know what that agility test was for.
Grabbing Mordecai.
Then yes, I will fade it.
Because unfortunately he failed to... Okay, so in a true action movie style, as you Mordecai kind of realizes what this thing's doing, flailing, opens the cockpit door. Zengu throws his grapple behind him to grapple on, rushes in. It's like, we gotta get out of here. We must leave, or whatever you say. It's unsafe.
We must leave.
You start pulling. You grab hold of him and you start pulling him out. Oh, well, you don't grab hold of him, but you say, we gotta leave. It isn't safe. As you're both moving, the ship suddenly, large chunk of the building gives way as the ship tilts and starts falling. Zengu keeps his feet quite easily, and adjusts. Unfortunately, Mordecai does not and falls. He frantically scrambles forwards as Zengu's manages to get to the exit and jump out. Mordecai frantically trying to climb out. Zengu reaches out at the last minute and grabs him and holds on. It does pop your shoulder because, unlike every action movie ever, reality would actually hurt when you grab hold of someone like that. It does pop your arm out your shoulder, but you do hold on to Mordecai.
It probably doesn't help. Mordecai is also a Skitari and probably full of metal.
Yeah. I imagine a few of the other Skitari rush over to help Zengu pull him up.
Well,
I'm not going to make a Medicae test to pop your shoulder back in, even in the gear. It's just it's a bit awkward, but yeah.
As Mordecai is popping his arm back in, I was like, well, that must have been the 46% chance of it falling. Probably should have said something about that.
When it crashes onto the ground below, it starts smouldering. It doesn't explode because most of the fuel is gone and it doesn't have that much power, but it does start smouldering. Smart smouldering. The way of the future. Sorry.
Smoldering. Smolder.
Smoldering, yeah.
It's a good word, that, smouldering. Rolls off the tongue.
Yeah.
Smouldering. Anyway,
We should probably get moving.
Yes. There are no
Just in case that draws
thing
anything.
does explode or stir up any other creatures.
just to emphasize your points, there is a few unnatural howls. They seem to
Like from a creature?
from a creature. Unfortunately, they give everyone the impression that they didn't hear them so much as it came out of the thing's mouth and went straight into their brain without going into their ear.
Yeah, we should leave.
Web.
Mordecai pulls out the phosphorus pistol and is now dual wielding both the rifle and the pistol now.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Ready for action.
Yeah.
See ya. The GM yawns.
It's my job.
No, it's
And
mine.
I suppose we just head on with the recovered things and servitor corpse.
As you start making your way to the building, you suddenly notice there's a very big change directly ahead of you. And you turn a corner, and you realize something is very wrong. Because instead of being the blackened, purple-stained roads and stuff, everything directly in front of you is not in perfect condition, but in good condition.
Web?
But let's not stand around and ponder about why things might have changed, because probably got something to do with what's coming.
As you look,
They may also have some protection if some of the boat fields here.
there is streetlights. Some of them are on, some of them are actually broken. It's not like this is the thing. It's not perfect. First off, you note there is nobody. There are no weird, eerie ghost statue decay things. There is some vehicles and stuff. You know, it's like an almost clean-cut line. You spot a car that is caught halfway, or some sort of ground vehicle caught halfway between it. The rear end is completely rusted and destroyed like you've seen in so many other locations. The front end is almost perfect. Well, it's got a few cracks of glass here and there, especially near the edge, but is otherwise,
I will use. I suppose we walk up to the edge, and I will use my sword and poke it forward to see if there's like a barrier or something.
There is like a disturbance, there's like a shimmer around it, but no, it doesn't like disintegrate or anything.
Okay.
Disturbance in force.
Yes.
Then I will try the same with my palm.
Again, there's a shimmer around it. You feel the hairs on the back of your hand stand up, like static electricity, but otherwise nothing.
Would that compare to anything I felt before?
Being near a void shield generator or a Geller field generator, while it's active.
Okay, I will
Or
relate it
something along those lines.
Yeah, I will relate it to the others that there seems to be some sort of barrier, maybe a Geller field generator that is basically preserving the area around this structure.
Okay, are we able to walk through that type of field?
It does not seem to offer any physical resistance.
No.
He says as he's like already stuck his hand through it.
Yeah.
Then why don't we just go in there?
Yeah, let's just go. By the way, is the ship still there? The one that just fell? Like,
Yeah.
Is it?
That's still there. Still smoldering.
Okay. It hasn't changed at all with
No.
the scenery?
No.
No.
Okay. At least that thing hasn't changed.
As I understand it, there is the area basically behind us, which is covered in various warp debris and decay from the warp storms. And then there's that area in front of us, basically behind the Geller field, which is basically just old.
Well, I, for one, would like to get out of this warp-infested area.
Yeah, I second that notion.
Yeah, I will step through the barrier line.
I look at it barely, but seeing as the others haven't disintegrated or disappeared, we'll all slip through.
Yep, you step through. You realise there is actually a slight shimmer between what you're seeing from one side to the other, especially now you step through. And yeah, it is certainly old, and it's certainly... There's signs of the outside world has still affected here. Or at least time has passed, unlike your last encounter with old stuff. The road is cracked, there are small plants growing about, little green weeds. Streetlight bulbs have broken. A number of windows have cracked in places, or shattered, but there's also a number that are still there, which is unusual, which is very different to the outside world. The stone is mostly light grey, or various shades of grey and white. Yeah, you have decently coloured cars. The paint's starting to peel off in places and flake, but they still have some colour, quite bright and vibrant. It's maybe about 2 blocks around the big defensive tower structure, palace.
Can we see the shuttle of the first group that came in yet?
You think you know where it is? So the big building in front of you reminds you more of a, I would say fairy tale palace, but it's more concretey, if that makes sense. It's certainly not Gothic, Imperial Gothic. It's got towers, and buttress and stuff, but it's all made of like a light grey concrete. There is like brass trimming here and there, but it's certainly not as garish as the Imperium. As you're looking at it, you think you make an educated guess as to where it could land, knowing the size of the shuttle. There aren't many places where it could land. You seem to be on the back side of the structure.
Well, let's look for a way in.
Absolutely.
As you like move around, you notice signs of life. At least, relatively signs of life. There's a few here and there. There are places where there are smouldering not bonfires. The barrel drum things, barrels where they like got fire in. Sorry, I can't think of what they're called. But that, like there's still on fire. A few places people have built like shanty houses here and there, scattered around. There's signs of people moving things out of the way where they've been broken or damaged. Windows have been boarded up. Stuff like that. And eventually you make your way to where you believe is the front. And you start hearing voices as though they're chanting in some sort of protest. You can't quite understand them. They don't seem to be speaking any sort of Gothic you've heard. But as you turn the corner, it looks like a protest outside the main doors of this castle. Most of the people seem to be... They're wearing fancy clothes, but they've seen better days. Faded, repaired, patchwork. And they all seem to be protesting. They have various things in their hands as they protest outside this building.
How many are there?
As well.
Oh, if we're ending it, then I'll remind.
Oh, I was going to say there's maybe about 100 in total.
Okay.
But I think
And they look alive.
they look very much alive, yes. Actually, I might change that number between now and next session, but it looks maybe about 100 people at least.
Alright.
But yeah, I will leave it on that cliffhanger.
Do so.
Alright.
Yeah, how do you guys think of that? What do you think of that?
Very interesting.
I like it.
It gave me very 093 vibes, if you're familiar with that SP.
I might be, I can't remember.
It's very creepy, and I really like the session.
I especially liked the people who like had their futures kind of held in check. I don't know, for us to look at.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed that as well. I wanted to do something that was a little different and like not combat-y, but just weirded you out.
I also liked the shadow people. Oh, we are dead. I didn't even notice.
It wasn't the case.
So that's what that feeling was.
It wasn't the case they didn't notice, but they were like stuck in a loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me a lot of one of the Doctor Who sessions where they were at the library.
Yes.
That was remind me of like that. Sorry, I was like, this reminds me of something with where.
Yes, of the flesh-eating shadows.
Yes.
Yes,
And
Silence
they
in the
possess
Library.
Silence in the Library. That's the one where they first meet River Song.
Well, they last meet River Song, to be correct.
Well, it depends which timeline
Where
you're
River
looking.
Song last meets them.
Yes.
Well,
As I said, timey-wimey, it depends whose timeline you're looking at. River Song is the last time, whereas the Doctor's it's the first.
Yes, and then Stephen Moffat took over and the show went to hell.
I still like it.
Yeah, I still watch it, but do you notice that I have an extreme dislike for Stephen Moffat's writing? He's great for horror episodes and all that stuff. Just don't write the plotline for a season.
Yeah. This is the thing. I think it should be handled like The Simpsons, where you just have multiple writers as opposed to one.
I mean, he had some great episodes like The Girl in the Fireplace, The Weeping Angels. Well, Blink, to be fair, the episodes.
Oh, Blink! Yeah, Blink was really good. The first Weeping Angel one was really good.
So, just a quick story about that. I was out with some friends, it was on TV, so I recorded it, and I came home late in the night. I was like, you know what, I want to watch it before I go to bed. At 2 a.m. in the morning, in a darkened room, with no light on.
Oh, you made a mistake.
I made a horrible mistake.
Like, Blink is one of those really... Like, every now and again, Doctor Who will do an amazing episode, and Blink is one of those.
And to be fair, after that, I'm still looking warily at statues like... It's not moving. Keep looking at it. Keep looking at it.
Yeah, they kind of made a really awesome enemy, and then they kind of screwed it up by various means.
Like the spaceship full of weeping angels.
No, I don't think that was inherently wrong. I think it was... Okay, there was a few bits which I think they did wrong. I think when they did the Statue of Liberty as one, I think it was a really stupid move.
It's Angels in Manhattan.
Yeah, that made no sense. I did like the book, though. I thought the book was really awesome.
Yeah.
It was just the way they made the Statue of Liberty a Weeping Angel, which makes no sense because a Weeping Angel cannot move if it is being looked at, and you're telling me that at one point nobody was looking at the bloody Statue of Liberty.
No. The reason why that was because that hotel where it was moving in next to was in a temporal field, which the angels controlled.
What?
Question mark?
Yes. Question mark a lot about that episode, but that's the explanation they gave. The angels controlled the temporal field around the hotel and the surrounding area, thus the angels could do whatever they wanted.
Also, the one where they animated the angels to move just made no sense.
They animated the angels to move?
Yeah, I think Rivers. It was like Amy Pond was like blind or something, or temporarily.
Yeah, no, that's the angels in the spaceship, which is the spaceship was carrying River Song. It crashed. Dr. Games comes to rescue her, and then they land in a cave full of angels. Because the spaceship crashed there, it gave them the energy needed to come alive again, and that's when they came up with the stupid rule: an image of an angel is also an angel.
Yeah, I didn't like that so much either.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the thing. I'm fine with like the angels decaying and the energy of the ship bringing them back to life, because I thought it was a really cool point where the Doctor was like, "Wait, you said this was so and so? Yes. So and so have two heads. What can you tell me about all these statues? They all look around. They've only got one head." And then the penny drops. Like that was really cool, and like the stuff with like messing around with gravity and like they're having to fire their guns so they can see by the gun lights. I thought that was a really cool idea as well. Like they did some really cool stuff with it, but they also did some really stupid stuff with it.
Agreed.
And then the angels got sucked into the cracks in time. Which we still thought was the silence, but it's not the silence. The cracks in time, because the silence are basically the guards of what's the planet again?
And then they were eaten by the Hound of Tindalos.
No, but at that point in time, we still thought that the cracks in time were from silence, and the silence were actually priests of a certain church that was guarding the planet where the Doctor will die.
Oh yes.
But I've got the 50th anniversary special, but I'm like, what's the name of the planet again?
Yeah, I remember. And like
The Translore. They are the
Trendle.
church that's guarding Trendle.
Oh yes, yeah. I thought Trendle was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
There are bits and pieces of Trendle which I remember were really interesting. Things like where they like walk up and it's like, wow, that's a really big monument of the TARDIS. It's like, no, that is the TARDIS. It's just died.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So the TARDIS is a
No, I know what the TARDIS is, and who Doctor Who is.
Okay, so one of the things they did was when the TARDIS died, was that it enlarged due to the fact that it was the TARDIS is alive. It is considered a living being.
Basically, what happened was when it died, it lost its shrinking capabilities. So whenever people said like it's larger on the inside, when it died, it actually became the size it is when people are inside of it.
So it became absolutely massive. And there was all sorts of other things that were really interesting with that episode. I remember it was like it was a nice, really dark one.
It's the one where Clara dives into the mind of the Doctor, and we see the War Doctor for the first time.
Oh yes, yeah. We see the Doctor, which defined the Doctor, if that makes sense.
And because it is said that the Doctor should never visit Trenzalore.
Makes sense, if that is the place he is destined to die at. And supposedly it's the only place he may die. Because otherwise he's sort of just reforms if he would die.
No. Look, at that time, the Doctor was on his 9th generation, regeneration. A Time Lord has only so many regenerations.
13, I believe.
Yeah,
12 or 13.
13, and actually the 11th Doctor was the last, because he also regenerated as the War Doctor. So Matt Smith was supposed to be the last regeneration, which is also why he said he didn't want to die. He was afraid of dying. Then came the 50th special. I liked it, and I didn't like it because it was suddenly like, here's gimmicky stuff, because the cracks in time were actually the Time Lords.
Oh yes, I remember where they went to the planet. I remember watching that in the cinema. It's a massive thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, the 50th anniversary specials were awesome.
Yeah, I remember that. I went to go to see it in the cinema.
I mean, that was really a future-length movie, the Death of the Doctor. It was...
That was the one where he was sat in that stupid town, and was just like...
Yeah, and he was protecting it from just anything. Ah, Cybermen, you've come to invade. That's fine. Goodbye.
Yeah, he does like lots of shenanigan stuff. One of the allies of the Doctor's puts like a technology field on the thing, or something stupid.
Yeah.
So technology can't work. And then there was like a wooden Cyberman. So the Doctor's like, "Ha! I have reversed your weapon," and the Cyberman turns its own gun on itself and just shoots itself, and it's like, this thing doesn't work on wood. And there was a weeping like one of the kids found a weeping angel and was like, okay, cool, hold a mirror. And just stuff like that.
And then eventually there's a huge war breaking out on Trenzalore. And it ends with the Doctor calling, I think he calls Amy as well as Clara. Where he says, oh yeah, he calls Clara. Because he tells Clara, look, there's going to be a man and he's going to be very alone. And he might be angry, he might be sad, but please don't leave him. Which was the introduction into Capaldi's era. I still have yet to watch season 10 because it hasn't come out on Netflix and hasn't aired here on TV. And I missed it when it aired on BBC.
Yeah. There's some weird things at times. There's many horror ones anymore, or good horror ones.
The good horror ones, like I said, The Girl in the Fireplace with friend Aunt Bolivia, I think it's called. Is her name? with clockwork mannequins is a creepy one. The Weeping Angel is a good creepy one. Oh yeah, Monsters in the Closets. It's also with Matt Smith, where there's a small boy who's afraid of monsters in the closet. It's also a pretty creepy one because it's like, here are giant dolls, like those dolls little girls used to play in the 19th century with, like very large size, and they just stare, and that's just the creepy factor. They just stare. What else is a good horror episode?
Good action episodes are like more of the early stuff. There was a very interesting one where there was that ridiculous assault on the tower, Torchwood Tower.
Ah, yes.
That was hilarious. What has happened was...
Battle of Canary Wharf, I think.
Yeah, Battle of Canary Wharf. So, the Daleks had gone through multiple dimensions to get to the Doctor. They sent like a prison ship. And they needed a time travel. No, they needed someone who had gone through dimensions to touch it to awaken it. But in doing so, they had gone through a Cyberman world where the Cybermen had originated on Earth. And in an attempt to take Earth, they had used shadows, and people had projected on the shadows memories. So things like memories of smell and this, that, and the other, to try and it sort of like solidified them. And then when the Cyberman awoke, they did like a whole load of assaulting, and also at the same time, I think Rose fell on the prison and awoke in it, so there were Cybermen and Daleks both invading Earth in full force. And there was the iconic moment where everyone was like, "Oh no, they're gonna team up," and like the Daleks were like, "We don't need you," and just shot the Cyberman. So it started off this ridiculous battle. The Cybermen then started trying to brute force assimilate people, which didn't work because they were still holding on to memories.
Wow.
So the one of them was the leader of Torchwood, was holding a stairwell with a dimensional gun, and just stopping everyone from coming up.
The episodes with the Ood are also quite good.
The Ood are interesting. The Ood are very interesting.
Ood?
The Ood. They are squid-faced people.
Yeah.
And they have communication balls.
So the one with the closet monster is Night Terrors.
There's some really good Doctor Who episodes. If you want to watch it, like watch the earliest stuff of the reboot. I can't remember who the first person was.
Christopher Eccleston.
Yeah, he was alright. He wasn't bad.
He was an angry doctor.
He was an angry doctor, and that's fine. But it set a lot of the Rose stuff. Billy Piper was an amazing psychic, along with K9 and Mickey. Mickey was amazing.
I'm gonna be 100 with you here. I've just been letting you guys talk about Doctor Who because I have no idea what's going on because I've never seen the show.
That's good.
And I've just been reading the SCP that I linked.
Yeah, I should probably end the stream, so thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed rambles. Also, I did find out somebody messaged during the stream, "Lol, stop touching people."
Yeah.
So that's when you were touching all the weird people. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I shall see you next time. Bye.
Bye.